All right, well, welcome to the podcast. I'm Steven from the Countertop Marketing Company, and today I'm very excited because we are going to talk to Nate De Los Santos from Saints Granite. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you on, Nate.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. It's good to have you on here. So let's jump right in, learn a little bit about your business. So tell us, a little bit about your business, how long you've been in business, number of employees, all that stuff. Just give us a little breakdown.
Yeah, so I've been in business for a little bit over 10 years now. We employ maybe between 4 to 20 employees off and on,
Okay.
depending on the jobs that we take on. Um, we've actually, or I've actually moved the business from not only just countertops, but also remodeling,
Okay.
that being multifamily homes, commercial spaces, and
Gotcha. Gotcha.
a
Cool.
few other things, additions and whatnot. But the countertop industry was definitely our starting point,
Okay.
and it's. I mean, it was great for me, and I love what I do. It's an awesome, um, it's an awesome industry to be in. It's very competitive, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there like do you see that we have clients all over the US, but in some markets, some are just saturated with fabricators. It's like insane. Where, are you seeing that in your area as well?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you have a lot of guys that they learn a little bit and
Yeah.
they right away go out and get their own jobs and
Yeah.
yeah, which is there's nothing wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, they'll tend to rush to things and in the process make big mistakes. It costs them money
Yeah.
instead of making them a profit. And it's we see that a lot down here.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think like you said, you got to get started, right? So I mean, you got to start somehow. But what we see a lot though is like they'll compete on price. So it's like bringing down the price for everyone else in particular markets. And that's never a good thing really for anyone. Um, kind of just,
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the points that I definitely tell a lot of my guys. There's a lot of people giving real lowball pricing, even with the real estate flippers and all that, and it makes it hard for I think most of the seasoned companies to stay on
yeah,
track with these competitive bids. I mean, it's really hard to do so having all the overhead, paying the guys, staying
yeah,
on top of the materials, the tools. As I'm sure you know, the tools have a lot of wear and tear.
yeah,
Um, so it's and it becomes costly to keep up with a countertop business
yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. So, so tell me a little bit about, all right, so you started on countertops. Now you kind of, you're doing a little bit more remodeling. How long ago did you start? I don't remember if you said that or not.
So I've been in business for 10 years.
Okay.
The remodeling deal, we started it maybe 6 years in,
Gotcha.
but primarily when I started, it was all countertops. And honestly, I mean, when I did start handing out business cards, my whole deal, I just wanted to do side jobs, a vanity here and there, maybe
Yep.
a little cross for someone while I was still working for the company.
Yeah.
And well, God's plans are always bigger than the plans we have. So
Yeah. Yeah.
from there, it just kind of scaled me out to having multiple side jobs, and I couldn't really be at work anymore. So
Yeah.
I was blessed by having more jobs and kind of word of mouth just spreading out for us, and it just went from there, man. And
Nice.
it's awesome. I mean, again, I love what I do, and it just being in business for yourself sometimes will put you in a position where you question it, but you definitely just want to keep pushing forward. And
Yeah.
it's what we've done. I mean, 10 years in, we're still here, ups and downs,
Yeah. That's awesome.
but
No, that's
still at it.
yeah, the market changes constantly, so being able to, ride it out through the ups and downs, it's awesome. And yeah, like it's same thing. I own my own business. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else. It's
Yeah.
I think we're just all different types of people, ones that own our businesses and ones that don't. So that's cool. So you said word of mouth in the beginning. Um, a lot of shops that we work with and just some that we talk to, they've built their business on word of mouth, referrals. How, like, what's going on now? Is it still, you probably even have more word of mouth just because you've grown? Are you doing anything else to get customers, any marketing or anything else?
I'm gonna say that I'm not, but and that's all because social media. I know you know this, but social media has kind of taken over the whole platform deal for
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
now, and it's just a great resource to put your work out there and show everybody what you can do, what you've done, what you're doing, what you are willing to work on. So right now, I'm really not advertising as much as before.
Okay.
But when I did start, I tried, everything you named it. We
Yeah.
had Angie's List. Thumbtack was a great one for me. Um, Google,
Yeah.
I had a couple platforms that I did try out.
Yeah.
And of course, just like business, the platforms have their ups and downs as well.
Yep.
But it's things you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Um, Yeah, like you could do Google ads, Facebook ads, Angie's List, some of those like lead generation companies. But like you said,
Brutal.
social media, Instagram, Facebook, putting out little videos, putting out project pictures. I mean, that's what people want to see. Like they want to see material. They want to see, a project that you've done, and then they want it done for themselves or they show someone. And, you could for sure. That I always we try to get the shops that we work with to put out more social media content. It's not always easy because the job's not done, but that doesn't even matter, like the electrics, the plumbing's not done, the electric, but still take some pictures, put it online, because that content actually works really good on social media. It's like the raw type of content, rather than the polished content, which isn't bad to
Right.
have both, but um, people like the rawness of content. So most of our phones are good enough to take pictures. So that's definitely a good way to get yourself out there more and grow. So
Yeah, for
that's good to
sure.
hear. All right, cool, man. So what are some of the issues that you see in the industry today? Anything that you see maybe for yourself or just other shops that you know?
Um, it's kind of like what I mentioned. The competition is very high for the countertop industry. I think that everybody wanting to be a boss nowadays is a big issue.
Yeah.
Um, Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but the issue is that it gets to the point where you need guys to perform the work. When we started, I performed the work myself with two helpers. And then as we grew, then I would add on to that.
Yep.
But I was always there and I was always performing the work. I set a set of standards that I would have to each job for each job. And now with this problem with, everybody wanting to be an entrepreneur and actually being out there and doing podcasts
Yeah.
and just showing up clean and looking good but not actually doing the work kind
Yep.
of affect the industry and the point of the work not actually being done properly, the work not being on time or the schedules being fluctuated the wrong way, the customers are not being attended to properly, and we can go down the list.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I said in the beginning, and my point of view that a lot of these guys learn a little bit and then they right away go out there and do something, which again, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. But I heard Jim Rohn say a long time ago, you learn and stay for a while, which
Yeah.
is a great point because you learn something, you want to stay there and actually finish learning it.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of installers when I first started, and we would always go over these things. To be an installer, you have to know about cabinets. You have to know how to actually fabricate the stone that you're installing. You have to know a little bit of electrical. You have to know leveling sets. You have to know about the tiles so that you know when you're in that space that you're installing these countertops, you're able to install them while you're running into whatever it is that you're running into. A cabinet's not leveled right. The wall is out of square. There's a big bow on the wall. You have to be able to know how to cut into that wall properly. Um, I mean, you being in the industry, I'm sure you know these things. These are
Yeah.
some of the things that are not looked into and are very missed with pictures because you could take a picture far from here but not actually see the lines,
Yeah.
you know. So it's a lot of these little issues, man. And I think it's one of the main things that affects the industry that everybody wants to be out here being a boss. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just to actually being a boss, knowing the project, knowing the material you're working with, and knowing the actual process of this job. It's important. I mean, I used to teach my guys, the first thing I would teach every new guy that would come work for me is how to carry these pieces
Yeah.
way before I even taught them how to grab a Makita, what pad to put first on a polishing. The first thing that we would teach them was how to carry the piece properly. And then you go from there. I
Yeah.
mean, there's just so much things to learn. I
Yeah.
mean, we're still learning in the stage that we're at in business. We're still learning and still looking and growing with the industry and the things that we're doing. But yeah, man, I think the main issue for the industry that I see is everybody wanting to be a boss. Everybody's worried about position and not worried enough about learning how to actually do the job
Yeah.
that they were hired to do.
Yeah, nah, that's a great point. I mean, I think even what you said, like finish learning it and then go from there. Like, people
That,
kind of skip a couple steps. And then, like you said, even with like, yeah, you want to get out on social media, but I think and just everything that we do, people see that stuff. Oh yeah, I could do that. Let me do that. And then like, you got to take a couple steps back, right? And properly
right.
learn things and um
Yeah,
well,
and listen, I tell some of these guys, it's great that you have the mentality of wanting to move forward.
yeah,
But like we're saying, it's just step by steps and
yeah.
learning it and then improving so that you can actually move forward. And once you know you got it down, no more power to you. Go ahead and,
Yeah.
like they say, spread your wings and fly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a process, man.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that kind of goes into my next question where some of the greatest insight that, has helped you succeeded as a countertop shop. I mean, you could share with us, anything that you have in mind, but I think definitely from listening to you speak, is kind of like taking your time, learn, take it to the next step. But I don't know, anything else you wanted to share, like to something that helped you succeeded?
Yeah, I would say if you're in business already, like you and I would say learn the business side of the business, meaning knowing your contracts, knowing who you're getting into bed with, in other words, or as they say,
Yeah,
actually knowing the legal part of the business helps you out a lot
yeah,
to not stumble into some of the things I have stumbled with, and creating mistakes from people wanting to come after you or people not paying you, um, not properly handling some of these things that definitely put you in a bind. So learning the business side of things is a
yeah,
definite must. And for those who are just starting, I would say don't be scared to take the next steps. Be persistent. Don't quit. Be as professional as possible. And, don't be afraid to do the things that come to mind.
yeah,
With everything else that we said, take your time on learning things. That's a big one that I just recently learned is making sure I hire the right help and giving some people the trust. Because I stumbled with that a lot of hiring people to help me send invoices, run a job, um, and certain things like that. And it
Yeah.
put a lot more work on me and made things a little bit more frustrating for me. So that's another big point as well. But yeah, I would say those things are something to definitely look into if they haven't already looked into it. And it'll definitely help them in this path,
Yep.
and the choices that they make to start a business or keep on running the business.
Yeah, good info, man. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I recently, we're hiring and changing things, and sometimes as an owner, like I want to do a lot of it, but I'm like, hey, I got to hire the proper help to do some of the stuff, so I'm not doing it all. And that's me letting some control go, but you have to do that in order to grow and be sane. You gotta
Exactly.
you gotta give up some of the control, but again, you gotta get the right people in place. So,
Yes. I mean, your industry is probably a little bit more challenging, right? With marketing and
yeah,
uh, finding the right customers and
yeah.
shops that have the revenue to actually pay you guys for your services.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We definitely have our own pains in terms of, a different type of business, but still, you got to find the right people, right? You can't skip steps. So like, there's definitely some similarities there, but the same thing, like finding the right customer. All shops that we talk to, they might not be a good fit, and I'm very, in the beginning, I'd probably would work with anyone, and now it's like, hey, I'd rather just be upfront with them, give them the correct advice, say, hey, you're probably not a good fit for us now, maybe down the road. But, we learn so much in this journey that it's insane. It's like never ending learning what to do, what not to do. Um, but I think just progressing forward, like you said before, is the most important thing. Like with stuff that you've learned in the past, maybe not to do. Like don't make the mistake twice, right? So,
Right.
but yeah, it's a constant journey, which again, we're on. So it's like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it's definitely not easy, at times. So,
Yeah. I
but
really understand that.
yeah, yeah. Well, good talking to you, man. Yeah. Thanks for, jumping on the show and sharing with us today. You can check out Saints Granite at saintsgranite.com. Definitely maybe down the road we'll catch up with you again and jump on an episode. And if you are looking to grow the retail side of your countertop shop outside of word of mouth and referrals, then check our website at countertopmarketingco.com to book a demo with me, and we'll see you on the next episode. And again, thanks so much for jumping on.
Hey, thank you for having me, Stephen. You guys have a great day. It's been a pleasure.
Sounds good, man. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Countertop Success Podcast, and make sure you head over and subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple iTunes, Spotify, and all the other major podcast platforms. Now, if you're looking to grow the retail side of your countertop business outside of word of mouth and referrals, then go over to our website at countertopmarketingco.com and book a free strategy call with me. Also, when you're on our site, check out our free training section and you'll find a ton of helpful resources that you can use to help grow your countertop business. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next show.